All right, guys, in today's video, we're going to go through a fun one. This is a classic debate that most sellers go through before they bring their home to market. It's a question that we get asked most frequently by sellers, and that is, how important is staging? So in this video, we are going to go through the classic debate of virtual versus real staging. My name's Emma. I run a real estate team in Toronto called Monstera. If anybody wants to get in contact with me, there's a link in the description below to book a call directly in my calendar. But what I really want you guys to do in today's video is stick with me to the end because I'm going to play a little game with you guys called Real or Not. And so I'm going to show you some examples of properties that have been professionally staged, and I'm going to show you some examples of properties that have been virtually staged. And I want to see if you guys can tell the difference because, to be very honest with you, in today's day and age, the virtual staging is a heck of a lot better than it was when I first started in real estate. And some people get tricked by it. So I want to see, can you tell the difference? Or do you think virtual staging works just as well as real staging? So without further ado, let's hop into the video.
What is staging?
For the newbies that are out there, I want to give you just a very quick, brief rundown of what staging is and why I think it's effective. So staging is the act of hiring a professional to come through and help you depersonalize and declutter your home. They're often bringing in different artwork, different pieces of furniture, and ultimately the goal is to showcase your home in its absolute best possible light so that when buyers come in, they have an emotional connection with your home. Most people think when they're purchasing real estate, they're doing it through logical means. Does the price work for me? Is the layout functional? I can see past these paint colors. I know I don't really like your coffee table, but I'll get my own. And the truth is, guys, most people buy off emotion. They don't buy off logic. They open the door and they're like, oh, this house is amazing. I love it. I want to live here. Or this place is a dump. I hate it. I'm not even considering this. It could be an exact copy and paste version of the house. One is presented in a certain light and the other is presented in a different light. And the reaction, the emotional reaction from buyers is drastically different. Okay. I've seen it time and time again. You see it with condos all the time. I'm going to give you a very brief rundown of how this usually goes and why I think it's important. When people hire us as real estate agents, there's typically three things that they're trying to accomplish: sell my home for the highest price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of stress to me. I want to give you an idea of typically what the buyer's journey looks like to make sure that you can get the highest price for yourself. This is typically the process. Everybody starts their search online. So we need to get the highest number of eyeballs on your online listing because the more people that see that listing will equate to more people requesting to come see the property in person. The more people that see the property in person equates to a higher number of offers. The more offers you get, typically the higher price or better terms that you will get because you have more to choose from. So the ultimate goal is, how do we get as many eyeballs as possible online to that listing to make sure that we can give ourselves the highest possibility of the most showings, the most offers, and ultimately the highest price in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of stress. That's what we're trying to accomplish. So now I want to go through some examples of staging for you guys, and I'm going to ask you to do one thing while you do this. As you look at these pictures with me, I want you just to take stock of your emotions to see how you actually react to these photos. Okay. So the first property that I'm going to show you guys here is a listing that we had. Love this place. Absolutely gorgeous. When you look at this listing, you're probably thinking, wow, what a great living room. It's super functional. Tons of different furniture can fit in there. Lots of natural light, freshly painted. There's nothing for me to do. I'd probably love to live there with the furniture that they've got. They've got plants. The pot lights are done. At the end of the day, all you need to do is wait for the keys, open the door, and move in. And that's what most buyers want. That's a simple, you're probably thinking, that's simple, that's super easy, Emma. Show me something that's a little bit more intricate. So what I want to show you is another example of a property that we listed. This particular property, I don't want to say was in disrepair, but it wasn't shown in its best possible light when we got there. The sellers were concerned, should we even consider staging this property? It's carpeted. Our kids drew all over the walls. I don't know. The place is really dated. Do we even need to take our furniture out, or should we just put it on market and let it go? Right? But what I'll tell you is this: people are willing to look past the carpet if they know that their bed can fit in here, if they've got extra space for their dresser. One secret hack here that I'll let you guys know if you're going to list your property yourself is mirrors will play a huge role in natural light. And one of the biggest complaints or requests that we have from buyers is natural light. I'm telling you right now, 9 out of 10 buyers that we talk to, when we say what's on your wish list, they say, I want natural light in my property. So with this particular property, yes, it has carpet, but buyers looked at this property and they said, You know what? It's a really good sized bedroom. It doesn't cost that much money to change the carpet. They started to justify why it made sense for them to invest their time. We don't have a lot of time. We want convenience in today's day and age. If somebody's going to get their butt in their car and drive over to your listing, they've already predetermined if it's likely a contender for them or not. So I want to show you a second example. This property was just listed today, and I want you guys to tell me, would you get in your car and drive for 30, 45 minutes in traffic, especially if you're going to be in Toronto? What you're probably thinking looking at this photo is, can I even fit my bed in there? What's this pillar doing? Why are these blinds down? Why don't they have any pillows on this bed? This looks super small. And all of a sudden, you start to justify all of the reasons why you should not get in your car and you should not go there. And it's just probably not worth your time. And I don't think it's going to work. This particular property is listed. It just got listed today, 769,000. You guys can drop me a comment and let me know. Are you willing to spend $750,000 if you don't know if your bed is going to fit in the bedroom? Probably not. So I said earlier in the video that condos are pretty easy for you to envision your furniture being in. They're pretty standard layouts. They've got decent natural light. The finishes are usually pretty good. So let's take a look at this one together. This one was just listed today, and this one is listed for 899,000. What? So what I immediately look at is, can I actually fit my TV over here? Why is this TV on an angle? There's a lot of condos that are on the marketplace right now. I don't really know if this is the right one for me. Are the sellers going to be willing to take a discount because it's not shown in its best possible light? These are all of the questions that start to go through buyers' minds. So in the next picture that I'm going to show you guys, I want you to answer in the comments below because I get mixed responses about this all the time. And this is virtual staging. I'm going to show you guys something. This is the same room. And so what you'll often see with virtual staging is this particular room, which is the vacant room, and they'll also give you an example of something that was virtually staged. So we'll look at this again together. Empty, virtually staged. Empty, virtually staged. So this is my 2 cents on virtual staging. I actually think that virtual staging makes a difference in helping to place furniture, but I do think that you need to let the buyers know before they arrive at the property that the staging is not going to be there, because it could be this, I'm super excited about going to see the property, and you open the door and it's very underwhelming. I think virtual staging can be experienced as an over-promising, under-delivering experience if you don't communicate that right with the buyers personally. But I'd love for you guys to drop me a line in the comments below and let me know your thoughts on the virtual staging versus not. Okay, so we're just about to get into the game, but right before we do that, I want to show you guys that not all staging is created equal. This next property that I'm going to show you is a property. We received a call from a seller that could not get their property sold. It was on the market for a total of 88 days. First one had been terminated at 775, and they relisted the property, and the listing ended up expiring. So we ended up selling the property in 7 days, but the property was actually staged. So what I want to show you guys is that not all staging is created equal. When we received the call from the seller, they said, "Hey, we just think you have better negotiating skills. Can you just repost the listing?" And I looked at the photos and I said, "I'm sorry that you guys paid for staging, but I'm going to have my stager come in and redo it." And they're like, "Well, it's staged and the photos look good." And I want to give you guys an example of staging is not always created equally. So this is an example of how we stage the den. You can look, it's pretty wide. If you look at that, you're like, wow, that's actually not bad. You can kind of set it up as a living room. Here's a second example of the photo. It's like, wow, okay, that's actually a decent den. Maybe can't be quite used as a bedroom, but it's a great office space, or I can put a futon in there and have my desk in there. It's a functional space. This is what it looked like when we took over the listing. So you can see it looks really narrow. You're like, that's a small desk. Why is it on an angle? I don't really know if it's as functional as possible. At the end of the day, these two spaces, that one and that one, are the exact same. So not all staging is created equal at the end of the day. You make sure that you work with a great stager who's going to present, again, the goal of staging is to present your home in its best possible light. Cutting corners and saving money on staging, it's like, what's the point of spending all of the money on staging if they're going to cut corners anyways, right? Like that's my overall thought process on it. So you're probably thinking, should I virtually stage? Should I not? Who does virtual staging actually make sense for? So if you're on a tight budget, if you're on a tight timeline, or if the property is in drastic disrepair and it just ends up being like lipstick on a pig at the end of the day, you might want to consider virtual staging. For all other purposes, I think There's no substitution for the real thing. I'm a huge proponent of staging. I will always be a proponent of staging. I look at staging as an investment. I don't look at it as an expense. So here is my 2 cents on the hierarchy of staging. I think real staging trumps everything. If you have the budget and you have the time, I think there is no substitution for real staging. The second thing in the hierarchy is virtual staging, but I put an asterisk there because I think your communication needs to be effective and you need to set the right expectations so that buyers don't come in with the expectation that the property is professionally staged and open the door and they have that disappointment and it feels a little bit deflating. So I put the asterisk there to make sure that you know if you are going to do virtual staging, communicate effectively. And then third is no staging. I still believe that virtual staging is probably better than not staging at all and leaving a property vacant. All right, it's the moment that you guys have all been waiting for, real or not. So let's play a game to see, is this property professionally staged or has it been virtually staged? I'm going to show you an example of a living room and I'm going to show you an example of a bedroom, and you guys have to vote which one has been virtually staged and which one has not been virtually staged. So let's look at picture number one together. Do you think that this particular living room has been professionally or virtually staged? Is picture number one virtually staged or not? All right, mark your answers down. Is that thing professionally staged or was it virtually staged? Let's look at option number two. Was this one virtually staged or was this one professionally staged? So if you guessed property number one was professionally staged and property number two was virtually staged, you were correct. So let me show you guys a couple quick things. One thing they did not have when they first started virtually staging was light reflections off of some of these. So if you're debating with your significant other when you're looking at property listings online, one thing that you might want to look for is have they actually added some reflections in there. Now, let's look at a couple other examples. So this is going to be the bedroom example. Is this one virtually staged or is this one professionally staged? And is this one virtually staged or is that one professionally staged? If you guessed number one was virtually staged and number two was professionally staged, you were correct. So, congratulations to you guys. At the end of the day, I think real staging, there is no substitution for the real thing. Again, it's an investment, it's not an expense. Thank you guys for sticking around for the video. If you found any value, please give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.